Alina had never shied away from meeting new people. The young woman was warm-hearted and effortlessly overlooked the flaws of others. Being in her company was easygoing, uncomplicated, and a sheer delight. It's likely this trait contributed to her extensive circle of friends and vibrant social life. Then there was Andre, a stark contrast to her vibrant personality. Alina first encountered him online while participating in a discussion forum focused on relationship dynamics. Out of the blue, a message popped up from him, praising her insights. Initially, Alina exchanged messages with Andre without much thought, and this digital interaction stretched on for quite a while. Eventually, he proposed they meet in person. "You mentioned that you're not a fan of face-to-face chats." Alina chuckled, not worrying about hurting his feelings. Andre had no plans to take umbrage. Quite the opposite, he aimed to show both her and himself that he was capable of and even eager to engage in face-to-face interactions with those he genuinely cared about. When Alina finally met him, she encountered a nervous young man, his cheeks flushed and words stumbling. With a warm smile, she promptly put him at ease within half an hour. To be honest, Andre didn't immediately catch her eye. It took a handful of encounters before he began to open up, revealing facets of his personality that eventually won her over. Interestingly, Andre harbored a streak of jealousy. He didn't just envy the guys in Alina's psychology class, but also felt a pang of jealousy towards her professors, the lads among her friends, and even the neighbors. Andreyusha reproached Alina gently. "Am I really giving you any reasons to be jealous?" "Absolutely not, so please stop feeling jealous of me. Just accept me for who I am. I will always enjoy spending time with other people. After all, I chose to study psychology for a reason." "And why did you choose to study psychology?" Andre once inquired. Alina paused for a moment, considering the question that appeared deceptively simple to her. Since childhood, Alina had been raised by her grandmother. It so happened that her parents had married early, and her mother had given birth to her at the tender age of 18, quite literally getting married while expecting a baby. This led to a whirlwind of heated Mexican emotions. Her father was constantly filled with jealousy towards her mother, while her mother, in turn, was always suspicious of him, ceaselessly hunting for reasons to argue and accusing him of idleness. I already understood then that their union would not yield anything positive. Alina's grandmother informed her. "Your father's mother was extremely envious and possessive, a true force to be reckoned with. She bothered Romka with her constant complaints, which wore him down. She knew she was marrying a destitute student. I thought that right after the wedding, he would bring her bags filled with money, but that never happened. My Roma didn't bring her any riches, and he couldn't tolerate Tanka's outbursts, where she would act like a victim, stomp her feet on him, and thrust you in his face, saying, 'Look, I gave birth to your child, and here you are, sitting around, cleaning your pants.'" The young couple separated 6 months after Alina's birth. Tatiana took their daughter and went to live with her parents. In the meantime, Roman went off to work a shift, from which he never returned. He found himself a deserving wife and started a family of his own. Roman called his mother several times, but Raisa Yakovlevna couldn't leave, and she had a valid reason for that. When just over a year had passed since Roman had left to make money, there came a gentle rap on the woman's door. Standing on the threshold was Tatiana, cradling Alina, who appeared feeble and coughing. Startled, Raisa Yakovlevna exclaimed, "Has the little one caught a cold?" and promptly invited the hapless visitor inside. Tatiana, pale as a ghost, carried the scent of wine and cigarettes, and wore an air of woeful fatigue. "Aunt Rhea," confessed Tatiana, "I can't carry on like this." "What do you mean, my dear?" Reza Yakovlevna inquired as she tucked her ailing granddaughter under a warm blanket and placed a compress on her brow. I mean, Tatiana continued with determination, that I'm tired of this life. All alone with a child, no one cares for me. My parents have chased me away, my mother refuses to babysit Alenka, and my father blames me for bringing her into the world. Even though I gave birth to a daughter within wedlock, Ronka has vanished into thin air. I can't bear it any longer. I long to break free and enjoy myself. I need employment, but no one will hire me with a little one in my arms. They say I'll only end up taking sick leave. I'm just not cut out for work. What do you propose? Reza Yakovlevna inquired, her tone making it clear that she anticipated Tatiana's intentions. Why don't you keep Alina for a while? Tatiana put forth. Give me 1 year to secure employment, meet a decent man willing to accept my child and me, find a place, and finally start living properly. By that time, my daughter will have grown a bit. Right now, she's too young, and I simply have no time. I'm utterly overwhelmed. The doctor says I'm suffering from depression. If I were to diagnose you, Reza Yakovlevna replied harshly, I would, but certainly not in the presence of an ill child. Get out, leave little Alinka with me before you completely destroy her with your irresponsible lifestyle. I'll return in 1 year, that's a promise. Tatiana committed solemnly to her once mother-in-law. And Reza Yakovlevna faced a challenging situation. Her granddaughter, who had been brought to her house, fell ill with pneumonia. Alina spent over 2 months in the hospital and then needed a long recovery at home. Reza Yakovlevna had no choice but to resign from her job. Luckily, Roman had started earning well by that time and sent enough money for his mother to support herself for a year or two. However, Tatiana never showed up at her former mother-in-law's doorstep, nor did she call even once to inquire about her daughter's well-being. When Roman called his mother to wish her a happy birthday, he once again proposed that she move in with him. Mom, come on, let's prepare for it. Stop sitting there. This place is so beautiful, and the air is so fresh. I'm already searching for an apartment for you, where you can live worry-free, he urged. Actually, I'm living just fine right now, Risa replied, quietly smiling to herself. Your daughter always keeps things interesting. Don't you want to talk to her? There was a pause on the phone. Mom, what's the point of talking to her? I barely remember her. I have 2 sons growing up here, and Tanya wanted to have a daughter. You know how things are with me. 7-year-old Alina, brimming with curiosity, overheard the discussion and drew her own conclusions. When it was time to respond to Andrei's query, Alina came forward with honesty. She aspired to become a psychologist, hoping to unravel why individuals fail to need each other. In theory, those close to us should inherently love and respect one another, yet often this affection and desire for interaction are missing. Such was the case with her own parents. She was their daughter, but neither her mom nor her dad ever engaged her in conversation. She couldn't even recall their faces, her only recollection being old photographs. Nearly 2 decades have now gone by, and much has transformed. I have a wonderful family, Andrei replied to her. Alina felt a mix of happiness for the young man and sorrow for her differing experience. They adore me, never deny me anything, and I have a younger sister who's also great, Andrei added. Bit by bit, Andrei and Alina found themselves growing more intimate, with their once frequent bouts of jealousy dwindling significantly. Andrei became accustomed to trusting Alina, realizing her innate friendliness was a natural magnet for others. One day, Andrei blurted out, "Let's get married." Alina burst into laughter, dismissing his proposal as playful banter. "We've barely hit our first anniversary," she countered. I haven't even met your folks, nor have you met my grandma. How about we visit my hometown? You can meet her, and if she gives us her blessing, I'll consider your offer." "Sounds like a plan." Andrei replied with a grin, his spirits lifted by the challenge. They purchased their train tickets and quickly arrived at Reza Yakovlevna's grandmother's home. The grandmother scrutinized Andrei for quite a while, peppering him with questions about all sorts of things. Then, with a sly wink at her granddaughter, she hinted that she had indeed found a worthy young man for her, one that Reza could consider marrying. "So where do you intend to settle down?" Reza Yakovlevna inquired. "I have my own apartment," Andrei replied. "My parents gifted it to me when I turned 18. Alina and I are living there right now, and we plan to continue living there." "And what about your future mother-in-law?" Grandma inquired, turning to her granddaughter. "Granny, I've never laid eyes on her, but I suspect she won't give me much grief." Both were in high spirits as they returned from their visit. Alina had agreed to Andrei's proposal. Now came the moment to meet his folks. "They're gonna adore you." Andrei comforted Alina, and the girl was aware of it, even without his words. Everyone had always held her in high regard. Of that she had no uncertainty. The dinner table was arranged within the dwelling belonging to Andrei's parents. Seated in the living room was Andrei's father, Mikhail Leonidovich, who took the initiative to welcome Alina. With a firm grasp, he shook her hand and courteously guided her to the esteemed guest seat. Alina reciprocated with a smile, then kindly offered her assistance in the kitchen. As she entered the kitchen, she observed Andrei's mother engrossed in dishwashing by the sink. Alina turned towards her and was suddenly astounded. Facing her was not just Andrei's mother, but her own mother, Tatiana, the same woman who had abandoned her ailing daughter in her grandmother's care, without ever inquiring about her well-being. Naturally, Tatiana did not recognize Alina as her daughter. In the span of 20 years, the baby had transformed, while the woman herself had merely aged. The same eyes, the same mole above her upper lip, the same smile. Alina greeted the woman and then returned to the table. "You seem crestfallen," Andrei commented, gazing at his bride. "What's the matter?" "Andreyusha, is your mother really your birth mother?" Alina inquired, cornering the groom. "Sweetheart, what's this about?" "No, my mother embraced me as her own, raising me as if I were her flesh and blood. My biological mother passed away during childbirth. How did you come to know this?" "I didn't, I merely deduced it. I am a psychologist." Alina had no desire to disclose the truth to anyone for fear of spoiling the dinner. She resolved to delay the arduous conversation until the following day, or perhaps another week. Let Andrei revel in his happiness, and she too would find happiness with him. After all, she had always yearned for this very scenario when she chose her vocation.